Morning, everyone, and thank you for joining BBVA Colombia's third quarter 2024 earnings call. I am Juan Fabregas, representing the Investor Relations Department of BBVA Colombia. Joining us today are Mauricio Hernandez, part of the Economic Research Team, Felipe Vega from the Financial Planning and Performance Team, Juliana Giron from the Capital Team, along with Nicolas Tripoli from the Risk Department and Mario Sanchez, our leader in ALM and Investor Relations. As a reminder, today's presentation will be accessible for download on our website under the Investor Relations section at the link labeled Agenda. Please be informed that this call is being recorded. To participate in the discussion, you can utilize the chat feature or simply raise your hand using the button located at the bottom right section of your screen. Our agenda for today includes key highlights from the quarter, a brief overview of the macroeconomic landscape, insights into our financial performance, and a discussion on recent achievements. Without further delay, I'll now hand over the call to Mario Sanchez.
Thank you, Juan Sebastian. Good morning, everyone. As Juan Sebastian mentioned, my name is Mario Sanchez. I am the head of ALM and Investor Relations at BBVA Colombia. I am delighted to welcome you to our earnings results call, where we will review the key developments of the third quarter of 2024 throughout the session. I will also invite members of our panel to share their insights on specific topics. Let's begin with slide 2, where we summarize the key takeaways of the third quarter. These points will be covered in more detail as we progress through the presentation. This quarter, we report a net loss of 270 billion COP, primarily due to the deterioration in asset quality and higher provisions. Despite this challenge, we achieved a 1.76 growth in loans compared with the third quarter of 2023, demonstrating our resilience and ability to grow market share in Colombia. In terms of operation performance, our efficiency ratio stood at 56.6%, reflecting a slight year-on-year decline of 1.1 basis points. However, BBVA's focus on cost management and operational discipline enabled us to achieve 15.83% increase in operating income compared to the same period last year. While our asset quality faced challenges this quarter, it remains significantly better than the industry average. Additionally, we strengthened our capital position, reaching 210 basis points above the minimum regulatory requirement, further reinforcing our financial resilience. With that overview of the quarter highlights, I will now hand the call over to Mauricio Hernandez, our economist, who will provide an analysis of the economic outlook. Mauricio, over to you.
Thank you, Mario. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mauricio Hernandez, economist in BBVA Research. Today, I will walk you through Colombia's economic outlook for 2024 and 2025. Let's begin with slide 3. Colombia's GDP is expected to grow by 2.0% in 2024 and 2.5% in 2025. This recovery will rely heavily on domestic demand. Investment will play a key role, starting with civil works and machinery and followed later by buildings. For instance, infrastructure projects and public works are already driving this initial phase. And we expect the private sector to regain momentum in the second half of 2025, particularly in residential and commercial real estate. On the consumption side, durable and semi-durable goods such as appliances and vehicles will lead the recovery. This reflects improving household confidence as inflation slows and purchasing power strengthens. By 2026, we anticipate services to contribute significantly, especially in areas like tourism and entertainment. Job creation has been sluggish, and we expect weak labor market conditions to persist until mid-2025. After that, as productive sector recover, particularly construction and manufacturing, we should see a notable pickup in employment. This will provide an essential boost to household incomes, further supporting private consumption. On the fiscal front, the government is facing a challenging scenario. Lower than anticipated revenues have forced spending, spending adjustment, including delays in investment projects. At the same time, the external deficit will widen as stronger domestic demand drives imports. This will be largely financed by foreign direct investment. Let's begin with slide 4. Inflation is showing a steady path toward stabilization. After ending 2024 at 5.1%, it will likely decline to 3.6% in 2025 and reach 3.1% in 2026. This downward trend will be supported by easing pressures on regulated goods and a stabilization on international supply chains. However, it's worth noting that services inflation is expected to remain more rigid, largely influenced by wage dynamics and structural factors in the sector. The central bank is projected to lower its rate to 8.5% by late 2024 and further to 6.5% in 2025. The reduction will alleviate financial stress for households and businesses, encouraging higher spending and investment. However, the pace of these rate cuts will be constrained by external factors, such as the narrowing differential with US Federal Reserve rates and potential pressures on the exchange rate. To summarize, Colombia's growth in 2024 and 2025 will rely on domestic demand with a phased recovery in investment and consumption. Inflation and interest rates are moving in the right direction, easing financial conditions for households and businesses. Fiscal challenges remain significant. Finally, employment recovery may lag initially, but improvements in key sectors will drive job creation in the medium term. That is all. Thank you for your attention. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Mauricio. Moving on to slide 5, we can see that our digital and mobile channels continue to demonstrate strong resilience and consistent performance this quarter. With 2.2 million digital customers and 2.1 million mobile users, we have firmly established ourselves as a leader in the digital banking space. Notably, 84% of our sales now originate from our website and app, showcasing the effectiveness of these channels in facilitating transactions and enhancing the customer experience. This reflects both our customer trust in our digital platforms and the seamless way these solutions fit into their daily lives. Looking ahead, our focus remains on driving innovation and further improving our digital and mobile offering. By continually enhancing our platforms and rolling out new features, we aim to provide even greater convenience and value, ensuring our customers' interaction with us are as smooth as rewarding as possible. As we transition to the financial highlights on slides 6 and 7, Felipe will talk us through the key performance metrics and their implications for our strategic directions. Felipe, over to you.
Thank you, Mario, and good morning, everyone. Moving to slide 6, starting with our activity, the scenario of declining interest rates has allowed us to keep the growth in the loan portfolio, particularly in the mortgage sector, which grew by 4% year over year. In this quarter, the consumer portfolio was impacted by the write-offs in personal loans, which reduced the growth. On the other hand, the commercial portfolio is experiencing modest growth at 3% year-over-year. This had led to a total net loan portfolio growth of almost 1.2% year-over-year. Moving to profits in slide 7, first, we observe a recovered net interest income growing by 10% year-over-year. This is the result of a continuous liability management strategy that has allowed us to take full advantage of the liquidity conditions in the market and the interest rate cuts. Continue to be a challenging area during the quarter, as we experienced significant deterioration in the personal loans portfolio, resulting in a 98% growth year-over-year, leading the bank to a negative net income in this period. Expenses are naturally increasing as a result of the salary raises at the beginning of the year, in addition to the substantial investment we are making in CapEx and costs related with digital transformations initiatives. This demonstrates our continued commitment to growth and provide better digital solutions for our clients. Finally, what I previously mentioned has led to the bank to a negative result during the quarter, mainly due to the performance of provisions. However, with a very good trend in net interest margin and an expected improvement in provisions, we expect better results in the last quarter.
Thank you, Felipe. Moving on to slide 8, let's delve into the highlights of our funding strategy. This quarter, our total funding decreased by 1.4% compared to the previous quarter, but posted a solid 3.6% increase year-over-year. Our funding mix have remained stable, with minimal changes observed in checking accounts and term deposits, reflecting consistent trends in resources allocation. While there have been some quarterly fluctuations, the overall composition of our funding aligns closely with where we stood a year ago. We have managed to grow our liabilities while preserving a balanced funding structure. This stability reinforces our financial resilience, enabling us to meet both internal and regulatory requirements effectively while continuing to support sustainable growth. On slide 9, it is worth highlighting that credit spreads have shown a consistent downward trend since September 2023. With this decline becoming more pronounced through 2024, BBVA's funding strategy has played a key role in adapting to and capitalizing on this trend. By layering a detailed analysis of the interest rate curve and aligning with the lining credit spreads, we have been able to achieve notable reductions in our funding costs. This strategic focus has not only enhanced cost efficiency, but has also driven a meaningful increase in net interest income. Through a proactive approach to market condition and a focus on optimizing the balance between credit spread and interest rate movements, BBVA has delivered strong financial performance. These efforts positioning us to continue taking advantage of favorable market dynamics, further strengthening our path towards sustainable growth and profitability. With that, let me hand it over to Nicolás Tripodi, who will provide further insights into BBVA's credit portfolio.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. My name is Nicolás, and I am the Director of Retail Credit Risk. The year-to-date cost of risk stands at 3.55, slightly below the figure presented in the last session. The credit products with the highest impact on our provision are personal loans and credit cards, which account for 13% of the total portfolio. Policy adjustments implemented earlier this year, along with recovery strategies, are already showing good results. Early indicators, such as vintage performance for recent originations, show a 40% of improvements compared to the second half of 2023, leading to lower portfolio rollovers. While our NPL ratio is higher than the sector average, It is essential to note this reflects our write-off strategy, as we charge off less than our peer group to prioritize late-stage recovery efforts. When combining NPL and write-off, our ratio is significantly below the sector average. Notably, our mortgage and commercial portfolio demonstrate sustainable growth with risk indicators well below competitors. In the commercial segment, we continue to closely monitor and adjust policies for deteriorating sectors such as healthcare, government contractors, housing developers, energy distributors, and telecommunications. We expect that the improvements observed in delinquency levels within the early stage in the consumer portfolio will also extend to the later delinquency stages. And finally, as mentioned in our last session, we improved the risk models that underpin our mass campaign strategies, and this has driven improved origination volumes in the second half of the year, supported by a solid base of low risk profile, primarily payroll clients within the entity. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nicolas, for your take and explanation on asset quality. Now we can move to slide 11, where Juliana Giron will explain our capital position.
Hello, everyone. My name is Juliana. I am in charge of the capital and profitability area. Thank you, Mario. In terms of our capital position, we end the third quarter of 2024 with a total capital ratio of 12.92%. This is 144 basis points above the regulatory limit. Additionally, in our CET1 ratio, we have a difference of plus 210 basis points above the regulatory minimum. During the quarter, we had an increase by plus 34 basis points in the total ratio and plus 30 basis points in the CET1 compared to the previous quarter. We have focused on profitability, growing risk-weighted assets, and optimizing our shareholders' capital. We have achieved this by extending new loans to clients with higher external ratings and improving collateral coverage, which has resulted in a much more moderated capital consumption. We will continue capital monitoring to allow the bank's growth while maintaining favorable indicators, always ensuring that we remain above the minimum requirements.
Thanks, Juliana. It is a privilege to share the progress BBVA has made in Colombia during the third quarter of 2024. Our dedication to social investment has continued to positively transform the lives of thousands of Colombians through a wide range of initiatives centered on education, volunteerism, humanitarian aid, and sustainability. Education remains at the heart of our efforts. During this quarter, we awarded 134 scholarships, delivered 798 school kits, and impacted 150,000 students across 132 public schools through the Connected for Education program, which provide internet access and digital resources. These actions reaffirm our commitment to empowering future generations with the tools they need to succeed. Our voluntary initiatives this quarter emphasize community support and resilience. BBVA efforts reach over 170,000 individuals, with employees actively engaging in projects aimed at uplifting underserved communities and fostering sustainable development. In the realm of humanitarian aid, we provide 3,000 relief packages, benefiting approximately 12,000 individuals affected by natural disasters. This support was critical in addressing urgent needs and helping communities recover their rebuild. BBVA's sustainability focus has also remained a priority. Through our ongoing Blue and Biodiversity Bond programs, we have continued to finance impactful environmental projects that preserve natural ecosystems and promote sustainable practice. These initiatives underline our long-term commitment to the planet. The results of this quarter demonstrate our unwavering commitment to fostering positive social changes while aligning with our broader vision of sustainability growth. At BBVA, we believe that financial success and social sustainability must go hand in hand to build a better future for all. To conclude, we would like to reflect on what has undoubtedly been a demanding and challenging year. Despite our difficult results in terms of net profit, we would like to highlight several positive aspects that we have achieved through this year. Robust capital position with an increase that demonstrates BBVA holding commitment to BBVA Colombia. Strong liquidity indicators, both locally and internationally. LCR 148%, NSFR 112%, CEFEN 190.5%, IRL 180.6%. Finally, net interest income margin growth exceeding budget expectations, driven by a reduction of funding costs with a 10% year-on-year. Thank you for your attention. BBVA remains dedicated to driving meaningful change in Colombia and beyond, and we look forward to furthering these efforts in the months ahead. At this point, we are ready to take your questions.
I see one participant has a question. Could you please type it on the chat? So the first question is profitability expectations for 2025.
Felipe, could you please advise us in this question, please?
Sure. So as we saw in the third quarter of 2024, we see a reduction in the loss in the net income. We had an evolution from minus 207,000 billion CUP to minus 217 billion CUP. So we are expecting that in the last quarter, the net provisions start having slow recovery. So during 2025, we are expecting that as our net interest income keeps getting better with our positive evolution of 10% year over year, we expect that as the net provisions start the recovery trend, we'll start to have net income. We have a positive net income at the end of the fourth quarter. So we'll start 2025 with positive income and so on. In this moment, we have different analysis and budget projections for the next year, and we expect a positive net income for 2025. As I already said, as the net provisions start a positive trend and as we reach our peak during 2024 in these expenses.
Thanks, Felipe. Jose, we are trying to activate your microphone, but we are having technical difficulties. So if you have another question in the meanwhile, you can please, of course, put it in the chat if we are not able to solve the problem.
I believe you can now.
¿Escuchan?
Sí.
Ok. Primero que todo, una observación. Estamos en Colombia. La matriz de BBVA es España. No le veo sentido a que la presentación de resultados sea en inglés. Me parece que, o sea, tal vez, o sea, esto viola todos los principios habidos y por haber. Pero bueno, la pregunta que tengo es la siguiente. En el informe de resultados de BBVA España, correspondientes al tercer trimestre, en las páginas 46 y 47, dice que Colombia generó una utilidad en los 9 meses de 91 millones de euros. A nosotros nos están presentando una pérdida de 260.714 millones de pesos, que al tipo de cambio de septiembre 30 equivalen a 56 millones de euros. Como estamos en Colombia y tenemos que hablar en pesos colombianos, España dice, Colombia nos generó una utilidad de 423.000 millones de pesos en 9 meses. Y en Colombia nos están diciendo que se perdieron 261.000 millones de pesos. Hay una diferencia de 684.000 millones de pesos. ¿Qué explicación nos pueden dar a los accionistas minoritarios de esta diferencia?
José, primero que todo, muy buenos días. Con gusto cambio a español para darte la respuesta de los dos puntos que mencionan. Uno, BBVA tiene inversionistas internacionales. Principalmente esta reunión tiene foco en bonistas, ¿vale? Por lo tanto, estamos obligados por ley, inclusive la colombiana, y para poderlo colgar en la página de la Bolsa de Valores de Colombia, tenemos que colocar nuestros estados de resultados, esta llamada y la presentación tanto en inglés como en español. Y por esa razón se realiza en español. Entonces, eso para responder tu primera pregunta. Con respecto a tu segunda pregunta y lo que se reporta, digamos que a nivel de grupo, no son los resultados del banco, son los resultados país. Y los resultados país tienen un scope que agrega compañías que no están bajo la sombrilla de BBVA Colombia, como lo es el caso de seguros, ¿vale? Igual, no sé, Felipe, si nos quieres comentar más detalle al respecto sobre el tema de performance, pero te lo aseguro y digamos que en términos de transparencia de esta llamada, los niveles que estamos indicando en esta llamada es sobre el banco, ¿vale? Porque la emisión, como se menciona, está pensada para los bonistas y los bonistas pues tienen un producto alocado al banco, no al perímetro país Colombia que ve holding.
Sí, de acuerdo, Mario. Buenos días a todos. Precisamente continuando con la respuesta de esta segunda parte, lo que ven en España es la consolidación de varias sociedades que tenemos dentro del país. Como explicaba Mario, una de las grandes diferencias es que se tienen en cuenta los resultados de la compañía de seguros de BBVA acá en Colombia. La compañía de seguros tiene unos estados financieros con una utilidad bastante relevante que nos permite compensar y voltear la cifra para llegar a esas cifras que se presentan en el informe de España. Adicionalmente, pues en España se consolida bajo la normativa europea, en donde tenemos diferencias, por ejemplo, por el lado de la constitución de saneamiento crediticio. Eso también nos está explicando una diferencia, por normativas tanto local como internacional.
Gracias, Felipe.
We have another question on the chat. Potential issuance of a new Tier 2 for refinancing the Bangan 478 maturing in 2025 international bond.
Thanks, Juan Sebastian. No, at the moment we have our the growth of the balance in terms of the demanding of capital we need for 2025 is already covered. So with the internal financing and other facilities, we have covered the cash we need to pay this the maturing of this issuance in 2025. So the bottom line is not, we are not going to reissue a new Tier 2 bond to the public market. At least is what we have in our budgets. This can change if the growth of the credit change and the balance sheet need more capital to keep to the growth that we have in our forecast.
Since there are no more questions, we conclude our event. Thank you for your participation, and we hope you have an excellent day.
Have a good afternoon and morning, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.